My name is Kim Emerson and I work at Gentry Photography. I've been here for 10 years now. Did I always want to do photography? It's kind of funny. I didn't really know what I wanted to do for the longest time. That's kind of part of the reason why I went to community college for 2 years, to go ahead and get the basic classes out of the way. And that would kind of give me some time to think about where I wanted to go. I always liked taking pictures, just kind of as a hobby, and didn't really think about as a profession until my sister actually kind of gave me that idea. And she worked in advertising, and Gentry Photography happened to be one of her clients. And she just mentioned if I was looking for just a part-time job to just kind of pay some classes, pay some of my college bills, that this place seemed like a really fun place to work. So I put in for it and really wanted to just mostly work as a receptionist, kind of get an idea of the business from a professional level, but didn't really know if they'd put me behind the camera or not. So it was a really good way to just kind of experience it from just kind of a salesperson's point of view to begin with, and that's what I did for the first few years that I was here. So I took some classes through Blue Ridge just as a non-credit photography thing, just to kind of learn some of the technical. And then as I got into JMU, I took some more classes about that. But really, the road to my field here as a professional photographer, a lot of it was just on-site training and just them giving me just hands-on job experience. In my particular line of work, it was, we don't just do portrait photography, we do mostly that, but we also do a lot of candid activities. So that aspect of never really being bored with it and always being able to change up what you're doing and go different places, and there's some travel involved, and that's fun for me, so I really enjoy that. The experience that I have in schooling and education, it's mostly, like I said, those first couple of years at Blue Ridge, they did train me a little bit about really learning some camera settings and trying to get that technical aspect of really what the whole thing of shutter speed and aperture really was, because I was really naive about that to begin with. I really didn't know. I had, your basic consumer camera, the point and shoots that are pretty programmed. So that really helped with that. I also took, in fact, Gentry Photography kind of paid for my education on some Photoshop classes. I took a few online Photoshop classes to learn the more digital side of the retouching aspect of the business. And then mostly, though, I can just accredit my knowledge, my education, to just on-the-job experience. Mr. Gentry and the staff here, all of the previous photographers, I just shadowed them for weeks and weeks and weeks until I felt comfortable, and then they would gradually let me take an outfit here and there of a senior that came in with multiple outfits. I would take maybe one outfit as I started to learn so that I wouldn't screw up an entire session. They kind of gave me that experience to kind of ease me into it, and then once they felt comfortable with my skill level, then I got more on my own, more solo stuff. My inspiration for becoming a photographer in the first place really goes back to my sister, who kind of pointed out that I do have maybe a natural talent to photography, that I really didn't see it that way. I was just, someone who took pictures. Everybody usually ended up handing the camera to me for some reason, and she would be the one that encouraged me and said, you really do take good pictures. You should look into that as a career. And my mom and everything too. Our whole family, we kind of tend to be more artistic. We like the arts and drawing and painting and all of that. So I think photography goes along with that. And they really inspired and pushed me and said that I should look into it. My setbacks were those meetings with Mr. Gentry, when you look at the proofs from a session and you see things that you really messed up with. Mostly lighting probably would have been an issue. I remember a session in particular that got negative criticism from my boss that was, a lot of posing into the sun, which is kind of a no-no. A few bad posing things, just kind of sloppy stuff that comes with experience. So those were my setbacks, and those, you know, you take those criticisms hard to begin with when you're still learning, but it helps. It's good. Well, the type of photography that I prefer, obviously I have a love for portrait photography. That's our main business here. Seniors, high school seniors are our biggest client, and those are so fun because it's a unique time in a person's life, and they come in with all their special interests and different outfits, so it's very versatile things you can do. But I also have to say that I really do like the candid sports photography. That's really fun for me too. Something where I could just kind of blend into the background and be taking pictures of what's happening in front of me and not so much have to constantly maybe pose and think creatively. But there is an art to getting that sports picture too as the action's happening and not end up with blurry pictures or pictures where the ball's not in the shot. Those are all things that that the yearbooks advisors from the schools that we deal with are looking for when we give them our final product. The photography equipment that we use here, and also the same brand that I have at home, we shoot with Nikon cameras. The in-studio cameras are Nikon D700s. I wish I had a D700. I have a Nikon D200 at home that we shoot with. The 700 is awesome. I love it. I wish I had one. An 800 would be awesome. They're so good because of the ISO range that you can use those at, and you don't get a lot of noise and graininess within the picture. So it's really great for sports photography that you don't have to use flash and distract the athletes. That's really important from what we do. The lens that we use in the studio is probably my favorite lens. It is also a Nikon brand. It's 24 to 120. It's just a good portrait lens that you have a decent amount of zoom, but then you can also do some cool wide angle shots without constantly changing lenses. So those would be my pick for sure. The photography business is changing for sure. We see that constantly year after year. The need for portraits, though, I think will never completely die out, and I believe that while there are a lot of hobby photographers that are out there and they, you know, they can pretty much give their product away or just give people a disc and not really produce any tangible product. I do think, though, that those people who where portraits really matter to them, they're going to want that professional look, and they're going to start to see the difference between what's amateur and what is well lit and well produced with high-end equipment with high resolution images and good quality printers. So I don't really think that we're ever going to be completely run out of business by those hobbyists. I think certain aspects of the business maybe have died off. As an example, we used to do wedding photography here at Gentry Photography. We don't do that anymore just because of so many friends of the family or family members that attend the wedding anyway, and they take the pictures themselves, and they'll just give the bride and groom a disc, and that's really all they want. And the bride and groom, they really don't even want or require a wedding album anymore. So I think maybe that aspect has changed a little bit, but as far as your family pictures, your children's pictures as they grow, that's never going to go out of style. My advice to anyone seeking photography as a profession would be you definitely want to get experience with a reputable studio, even if it's just like Walmart Portrait Studio, something like that to help you learn the ropes. I don't recommend just going off and trying to start your own business like that. This economy in general is not really good for that endeavor in general anyway, but you're going to make mistakes along the way, so you're better off to do that under the care of professionals and people who've been in the business for a while rather than just trying to go it alone and end up maybe in debt or with a business that you really can't do anything with if you don't really know what you're doing. So I would say definitely surround yourself with people who know what they're doing and get a good education in the field as well.